Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and I'm quite a fan of walking writers' puzzles, so I'm pleased to see I'm doing another one today. This is A Night in the Entropics. I quite like that title as well. Although I can never quite remember what an entropic line is and what a modular one is, we will have a look at this in a moment. It's a remarkably sparsely populated grid, I think, so I'm intrigued how this is going to work. Now, first of all, I'm going to mention that there is still 1.5 days left to do the Hollywood Lunchbox, the Sandwich Sudoku collection, and people have been enjoying that. There have been more entries pouring in, which is great. Hundreds and hundreds of people have solved it correctly, and well done them. There will be a draw for a prize after the 20th, the closing date, and give it a try if you haven't already. There's some good stuff. That's on Patreon, along with loads of other content that we put up there. Extra puzzle packs, occasionally the 600k puzzle pack. There's also, which I think we're threatening to stream soon, ourselves solving it. Yeah, I mean, there's one part, each puzzle has been untested by one of us. So there is an opportunity to stream that, and I think Simon is very much thinking that we should do that, so that'll be quite good as well. Do join us for a Sudoku stream, which isn't the type we normally do. It's probably due after the last game we did, which, thank goodness you're here, was an eye-opener. Now, you can find the VOD if you want in our back catalogue, along with all of our other thousands of videos, and there is actually a catalogue of our puzzles in the links under the video, along with Sven's Sudoku pad and our merchandise. That's also where you can find how to join Patreon or the Discord server, or indeed to get all of our apps, which include Line Sudoku and Domino Sudoku and Chess Sudoku, which I've just noticed in the rules is relevant today. Yes, that's interesting. Right. Anyway, okay, I'm going to do the rules of the puzzle now and then have a go at walking writers. My goodness, that's the postman savaging my door. Hope you didn't hear too much of that. Have a go at walking writers A Night in the Entropics. So look at the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 will go in every row. Oops, that's not a column. Every column and every 3x3 box. Digits connected by a black dot have a 2-to-1 ratio, so we could put 3 and 6 in there. Digits connected by a white dot are consecutive, so we could put 4 and 5 in there. Cells separated by a chess king's move cannot contain the same digit. That means those two cells touching diagonally can't have the same digit. That's the impact of that. Obviously, what it literally means is for that cell, none of those can have the same digit, but by ordinary Sudoku, we already knew that none of those could, so it's adding those 3 cells for that one. So cells touching diagonally can't contain the same digit. Now, my friend Emily has given me the wherewithal to remind myself of that rule when I've forgotten it. The red king comes out, but that's not all, because cells separated by a chess queen's move cannot contain the same digit, but this rule applies only to digits 3, 6, and 9. Now that's a relief. Somebody once told us that you can't have a queen's move rule for more than 6 digits in a puzzle, unless it was 7. I think it's 6, which still seems an incredibly high number to me. But anyway, what that means is that 3, let's start with just 3. 3 never appears on a diagonal with itself anywhere in this puzzle. So if you had a 3 in this cell, none of these could be 3s because they would share a diagonal with that cell. And the same is true for 6 and for 9. And now we get to the entropic lines, the peach lines. Any 3 consecutive digits along a peach line must include a digit from the set 1, 2, 3, the low digits, a digit from the set 4, 5, 6, the middly digits. Oh, no, sorry, I was going to tell you that Emily has given me a queen as well for the queen rule, which rarely gets an outing, so that's good. And a digit from the 7, 8, 9 set, the high digits. Sorry, so I interrupted the entropic rule. So any 3 along this line have a low, a middly, and a high digit. Those 3, and those 3, and those 3, etc. And finally, all peach lines of length 3 must contain the digits 3, 6 and 9 in some order, which will of course obey the rule. Okay, well that's a bit more of a giveaway. So we've got a start when we get going, and I'm going to get going now. You can try it on the link under the video, but I'm going to say let's get cracking. So we've got a 3, 6, 9 on that line. We've got a 3, 6, 9 on this line. And we've got a 3, 6, 9 on this line, where the black dot must take the 3 and 6, and our first digit in the grid is a 9. Our second digit in the grid is an 8 on the white dot. So there's a nice start. 8. Okay, so now, oh, my head is reeling. I don't know whether to start with the Queen's move, with this long peach line, with something else. Right, let's use the Queen's move rule. We've got one definite 9 in the grid. That one is in the same diagonal, so that can't be a 9. I mean, that's quite interesting straight away, because now one of these is a 9, and then nothing else in this diagonal can be a 9, but I'm not going to mark that up. 9 there is looking at that cell, so one of these is a 9. Yeah, okay, so now I am going to use the fact that one of those is a 9 to look at where 9 goes in box 3, because remember, 9 is one of these queen digits today. It doesn't go there or there by Sudoku, and there by the Queen's move rule. So it goes in one of those 3 cells. Now it would be, oh, not like that, like that. It would be very interesting if it goes here, because that would be another 9-8 pair on the white dot. But no, I'm going to move to this entropic line. We've got a high digit. Now we have to alternate because those two are now low and medium, to make that 3 a proper set. Therefore, this one is high to make those 3 a proper set. So this is high, 7 or 8. And we can alternate every 3 steps. This is high, and it's not 8. So that is 7 or 9. Is there a way? I already know it's not 9. No, I don't think there is. Fair enough. Now, these two will be of the same polarity, if I'm calling polarity middly or low, and those two will be as well. So I'm marking those up to remind myself. Now I've got a 3, 6, 9 set in this column too. This can't be high, so it's 1, 2, 4 or 5. I don't really know how I'm meant to attack this from now on. Maybe, right, whatever that digit is on this line, and it's not in one of those 2 cells, so it's there. So there's only one place for 9 on this line. Okay, I'm going to colour the 9s purple and see if I can get anything from the Queen's move rule. I've got a King's move rule as well. I need to remember that, because that's not come into play yet, and it's easy to forget. It's good I've got these chess pieces sitting in front of me. I mean, I know you can't see them. Maybe I should superimpose them on the screen somewhere. 9, 8, 3, 6. Now, these cells are 1, 2, 4, 5, 7. That's not interesting. This is not 3 or 6. When I suggested at the start that we might put 3, 6 there, that's exactly what we don't put there. So this digit is also not high. So it's now 1, 2 or 4 on the black dot. This is 1, 2, 4 or 8 up here. This similarly is 1, 2, 4 or 8, because it sees the whole of a 3, 6, 9 set in 2 different ways actually. And that is also 1, 2, 4, 8, because it's in the same sort of black dot family. Now I promise I am thinking about colouring these 3s and 6s, but until they relate to each other a bit better. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these colours for now, because I want to do other colouring. I want to colour 3s and 6s somehow. Don't I? It was this line doesn't have to have 9s, 3s and 6s on, I don't think. It was only the lines of length 3. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember all the rules. So this 9 sees that cell. This 9 sees all of those cells. So 9's in one of these places in box 8. If it's there, it's on a white dot. If it's there, it's on a white dot. I don't have any particular reason to rule out 8s, I don't think, from those places. Okay, one of these is a 9. If that's a 9, that has to be a 9. Now what happens to 9s then? Is there a problem? There's almost a problem. There's only one cell 9 could go. Ah, yes, there is a problem. Yes, what I should have done, this is how I should approach this, and then I would have spotted what was going on in box 5. Once I get a 9 in this puzzle, I'm going to treat 9s as the key digit for now. Rule out all the cells that can't be 9. So let's start with this one. This sees, let's do horizontal and vertical first. And then let's do its box. And then let's do its diagonals. And this will show you what I have just seen separately. So that's that 9 dealt with. Now this one has a vertical and horizontal and a box. And then it has some diagonals. There, actually, yes, that's how we got that 9 was limited here. Now, one of these two is a 9. No, sorry, it's this one. If that was a 9. Oh, yes, yes. If that was a 9, that would be a 9. And that cell sees that one, if it's a 9. So there'd be nowhere for 9 in box 5. So that is not a 9. That is a 7. And goes green as well. Now, one of these is a 9. And that's on a diagonal looking at this cell, which now cannot be a 9. And now 9 is in one of these two cells, and these are ruled out from being 9. And anything else obvious? We've got a 9 in one of those two. We've got a 9 in one of these two, which actually rules out all of these and these from being 9, and I hadn't really noticed that before. Now, if that's a 9, it hits that cell. If that one hits that cell, that one would put us in one of those two. Not quite sure if we're meant to be able to finish off 9s now. And the trouble is, having coloured the grid with purple and green for 9s, it's hard to do the same for 6s without overlaying colours. So, not quite sure what to do about that yet. So, if this was a 9, then that sees this cell. So that would be a 9, that would be a 9, that would be a 9. That's getting quite powerful. One of them must see something. Two of them see cells in box 3. So that becomes a 9, that becomes a 9, and that. And that fails. Gosh, that's a bit complicated. So if that's a 9, I'm just going to run through this again, see if there's a simpler way of seeing it, but I am ruling it out. If this was a 9, it fixes the 9 in box 1, which does the one in box 4. Between them, no, yeah, that in turn makes row 5, column 5 a 9. And now, extraordinarily, that's forced the 9 in box 3 to be there. But it's left, and that now leaves nowhere for a 9 in box 9, because the ones in row 7 are ruled out by one in row 7. The one in the corner is ruled out by the central cell on the diagonal. and column 7 is done. So that is not a 9. I mean, that's a slightly complicated way of getting there, but I'm prepared to use it. Purple there, and that allows me to put greens in these cells. Now, one of these remains to be a 9. That is not seeing anything else on the diagonal that I wasn't seeing before, so even having got that, it may not be incredibly helpful. But 9s are the queen digit I really have to work with at the moment, so I'm keen to keep going. But I am running out of steam because I don't know what else to posit that, okay, if that was a 9, that has to be a 9, and that one. And because of that one and the diagonal, we get that, that, and that. But I think that works okay, so I'm not ruling that out. Okay, so I'm just going to mark up these other places as potentially a 9, and then get rid of all the green, maybe even the purple as well. Now I'm going to leave the purple. Let's now choose one of 3 or 6 and see what we get on in terms of the possibilities. So let's make that one red. Now on this 3 and 6 line, that must then be the red. Okay, so that is, and also that must be red on this 3-6 pair. That's going to give us a lot of cells to turn green and avoid being red. So let's start with this digit in row 4, column 3 first, and all its queen move cells. Then I'm going to go down to this one, queen's move and its own box, of course, so not just the diagonals. Okay, that's all for that one, and this one is going to fail. Ah, yes, this is good. Right. I'm already seeing quite a lot of places where this digit has to replicate now. I think that's all I can make green, but that's only left one cell in box 5, and this is new information. So there's definitely one of this red cell there. Then in box 3, it must be there. Now that's going to give me, that is looking at that on the diagonal, so we're going to get a red cell here. That takes that one out. These two, no, they're still alive. This is seeing that cell. Oh, this one is seeing that one. So one of those two is red. Now in box 1, that digit sees 2 of those cells. And that digit, yes, it does see the one in row 9, which is a relief, because now I can put the remaining red cells in the puzzle and make them 3 or 6, and now I can get rid of all the green again, because we did all the reds. And now, hopefully, I can try the same trick on the other one of 3 or 6. I only have 2 of these. Let's make them blue, and then green everything that this one sees to start with. So row, box, and column, and then diagonals. And then try it with this one, box first, row, column, and only one important diagonal there. So those all go green. Right, we're only left, since this is the other digit, I could colour the red cells green as well. They can't be the same. So this is going here in box 8. And I may have done these in the right order. That cell sees all of those, all of these, and that, which is an important one. So not only do we place it in box 9, we place it in on this peach line. It's got to be there. And that's important. That's a 3 or a 6, not a 9. So in a moment, I'm going to place the 9 on this line. But first, I'm going to add more green cells and that one on the diagonal. Oh, and those two, yes. So now I get one here. That is a 3 or 6, not a 9, which is quite important. Yeah, and I'm going to finish off the blue cells now. There they all go. Those are the remaining 3 or 6s. I'm going to get rid of all the green because that was relating to blues this time. And now the 9 has been held to one of those two positions. And therefore these aren't 9, and that is... That means this one isn't. This one can't be because it's blue and is a 3 or a 6. So I get to place 9s in boxes 3 and 7. And they are done here, yes, because of this line that I was coming back to. That's the 9, that's 9, and that's not 9. And there we go. That's all the 9s done. Let's colour them purple. So that's all our 3, 6s and 9s. And I think you'll find, because we've kind of checked this apart from in the 9s, that they obey all of the diagonal restrictions that we were looking for. Excellent. So, haven't established which is 3 and which is 6, but there'll be something that does that soon for me. First of all, I've got 9 on a white dot, so I can put in an 8 here. And here, 9 on a white dot gives me an 8. I'm going to try and use the dots if I can before I do too much Sudoku, although actually I've just spotted where 8 goes in the central box, and unsurprisingly it's in the position where the high digit had to be, and that can't be 8. Now I keep on looking at the diagonals. They don't matter anymore. I've done the digits that the queen relates to. I've got the king's move. See, I did forget it. Thank goodness I picked up the queen. Right, 8 is looking at that cell by king's move. So that, there is a 2 in one of those. King's move, how is this going to operate now? Yeah, that keeps 8 out of that cell. So 8 in box 9 is in one of those two. 8 in box 3 is in one of those, but it can't be on the white dot with a 3 or a 6. So we've placed 8 there. That knocks out those two cells, so we can place 8 in box 2. Then it's in one of those two in box 1. But again, it can't be on a white dot with a 3 or a 6. That's obvious now I notice it. So we get 8 there. Using the king's move doesn't actually matter. I get 8 there. So we're left with an X-wing on 8s. Now, what next? We've got 1, 7 in the grid so far. Do I use the entropic line or do I do Sudoku? I don't know. And there's definitely a 2 in those cells and a 2 in those cells. So, digits that can't be a 2, shall I green them? That means those can't be a 2. And these can't be a 2. I think it's a daft thing to do, but I'm giving it a try. No, that was pointless. Let's get rid of that green. Sorry, just trying something. Now we've done all 9s, 3s and 6s. Don't need to look at them. 8s. We've done as far as we can. It's these white dots. Oh, we've got... Right, this can't be a 1 because it's touching 3 or 6. Oh, and it can't be a 6 here. 2 or 4 there now. So all the reds are 3s. All the blues are 6s. This digit is 5 or 7 on the white dot there. So is this one. And down here we've got 2 or 4 in the corner. Get no 3s in the corner. Now, that's nice to have disambiguated the 3s and 6s. Oh, and we've got a pair here that is either a 4-5 pair or a 1-2 pair. Yeah, I don't know. 7 can't be there, is in one of those cells. 7 can't be on the dot because it would be with 6 or 8. So 7's in there. Then 7 is in one of these two, but the entropic line says it's not there. So I've placed 7 in box 5 and box 6. That fixes a 5 on the dot up there, and I like getting new digit information. These are from 1, 2, 4. I still don't know about these entropic digits. If this is a 4, that's also a 4. Ah, that's great, because then there'd be nowhere for 4 in row 6. So I am using the entropic line now, because if this was middly, that would be middly. They'd both be 4s, but that breaks in box 4. So they are low. They are a 1 and a 2. This is the middly digit, 4 or 5. This is middly, 4 or 5 as well. And now the entropic line's fulfilled by the pencil marks. So here, that 1 or 2 must go in this cell. This is now a 4 or 5 in the row. This is a 1 or 2 in the box. And that is a 4 in the column. Lovely. That's lovely. So this is 2 on the black dot. That's a 1. Now, by the king's move rule, I've remembered you again, Kingy McKingface. That's not a 4. This is 5 and 7 down here. This is a 1, 2, 4 triple, of which 1 and 2 must be on the dot. 4 there, 5 there. That gives me 5 here. 7 is telling me by the king's move that those aren't 7s. So that's a 7. This is a 1, 2 pair. There is a 7 here as well. That's not a 2 because there's definitely a 2 on the black dot. So that's 1 or 4, and this one is 1 or 7. Sorry, there's some easy. Oh, 5 is looking at that digit, right? So that's going to sort out some 4s and 5s. Have to keep remembering the king's move all the time. Just keep playing the Sudoku. Now, 7 is in one of those 2 cells in box 9. That's a 5. Sorry, that's been very obvious for a bit. This is not a 1. The 1 in the box is in fact here. And that gives me 2 here. That gets me a 4 in the corner, which places 4 in column 2 on the black dot, giving me a 2. That makes this cell a 1, 2, 4, and now I think I'm finishing off. Probably going to still need to remember the king's move as I try and finish off. 1, 7 down here. They're not touching anything else. That can't be a 1 now. 6, 9, 3. Okay, not finished. This is this uses the king's move to become a naked single. 3, 4, 8, 9, 6, 1, 7, and 5 all looking at it. So that's a 2, and that is going to deal a blow. So excellent. This is now an 8, 5 pair. I can't resolve those yet, but that's fine. This pair, well, let's do these first. That's the quick way. This is 1, 5, 7. This cell sees 5 in the column and 1 on the king's move, so that's 7. And these two are a 2, 8 pair. And finally, I see how to disambiguate these bottom 2 rows. It's that connection and the king's move. So that is going to do all of the work in rows 8 and 9 for me. And there we go. They are all done. 7 there is looking up here, and that 1 is going to mean I don't need the king's move for anything anymore. I'm wrong, because I've got a 1, 5 deadly pattern. But that is resolved by this 5, if by nothing else. And there we go. Lovely. Let's just get rid of the colouring, because it's done its job. I mean, I left it till the end because I wanted to highlight how clever this is to create a puzzle with all the king's moves, with all the queen's restrictions in it. And that is A Night in the Entropics by Walking Writer. A good, fun puzzle. Yeah, with not an easy solve part. There's quite a lot of things you have to spot there. And that first kind of move with the 9s where I sort of traced a chain. That is sometimes what you have to do with Queen's Move puzzles. They are good fun. We come across them quite rarely, which is why my little queen only occasionally gets an outing. But nice to get one now and then. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.